want you to think upon, would you consider yourself an athlete? Just to make this personal, would you consider yourself an athlete? Now, I would like to share something with you. Every single person in this world, great or small, is an athlete in one way or another. And what I want to show you here is that whether you realize it or not, every single one of us, including the people in the world, are in a race. You didn't think about that. The scripture reading is going to come from 1 Corinthians chapter 9. 1 Corinthians 9 is where I'm going to start off, but I want to start off here with this note. Everybody is in a race. And Paul here in his letter to the church at Corinth, and starting chapter 9, starting in verse 24, it says, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we for an imperishable crown. Therefore I run thus, not with uncertainty, thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified." So we are all in a race. Now, Christians, well, let me ask this first. So what are we racing for? There's only two options here which we could be racing for. It's said in verse, it was 25. There's a perishable crown and a imperishable crown. So most people today, as they're running the race, they're racing for this imperishable crown, which is the world's, the cares of the world and the pleasures that are therein. But as Christians, what are we supposed to be running for? And it's this idea that it says, now they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we, as Christians, for an imperishable crown. And I want to look at this idea of racing for this imperishable crown, which in Revelations 2:10 is the crown of life. So here we are, as Christians, are to be racing for the crown of life. And here Paul is showing himself that he runs and he fights. Us as Christians, we are supposed to run and fight, but who are we to run to, or run from per se, and who are we supposed to fight? And if you think about the day-to-day struggles that Christians have, we struggle with temptation. There's the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. Those are all tools which Satan uses to try to keep us from obtaining that crown. So when Paul says, I run thus, it's we run to God and we run away from the devil. I saw this cute little phrase. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was exercise daily, run from the devil and walk with God. So it's that idea of we are supposed to be running not with uncertainty. And by that, we are running with a defined goal in mind. We are running to obtain the prize which Christ has won for us, which is that imperishable crown. And this fight, I fight thus. This is our constant fight with the devil. Paul says, not as one who beats the air. You know, when boxers, when you're boxing someone, the boxers try to usually bob and weave so that when they hit, all they're hitting is air. They're not hitting their opponent. So we are supposed to, when we fight, we are supposed to take skillful aim to overcome those things in which Satan tries to tempt us with. And so, and as every good athlete, at the end of the verse it says, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. Like every good athlete, we're all going to need some training. So here we are running for an imperishable crown, And the idea is we're supposed to get other people to run with us for the imperishable crown. The first, I said, there was this one gospel preacher, and every time he lays kids down to go to bed, he'd have them recite, what is the goal of a Christian? And they would recite, to get yourself to heaven. And he would say, what's the second goal of a Christian? Take as many people with you. So you're supposed to be striving for that crown, and while you're going for that crown, you're supposed to encourage other people to pursue it with you. So we're to pursue other people to get this imperishable crown instead of the crown which is only here in this world and is only temporary. We, in Bible class, we went over the idea of lay for yourself a treasure in heaven where neither moth nor rust corrode and where neither thieves break in and steal. This is the idea of that imperishable crown. It will not go away, it cannot rust, and it cannot be stolen. So, to continue on with this idea is idea of training. What are we supposed to use to train our bodies if we are athletes running in this race? And the easiest verse to turn to is 2 Timothy 3. 2 Timothy 3, and I'm starting in verse 16. When my dad was in college football, the thing that they had this little manual that had all their exercises, all their drills, and they would follow that on a routine basis. So the question I want to ask is, what are we as Christians supposed to use as our workout manual per se? And in 2 Timothy 3:16, it says, all scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, and for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be complete, thoroughly equipped for every good work. So this is how we are supposed to train. We're supposed to follow this guide which instructs us in righteousness of how we are supposed to run our race. So here, this is all we need to know to be able to run our race effectively. All right, so now we have a goal in mind. We're trying to reach that imperishable crown. We have the manual that gives us the instructions of how we're supposed to get it. The second thing I want to look at is in Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12. And kind of looking at the idea, Satan can get in our way. It's like, how does Satan get in our way, and what are we supposed to do about it as Christians in running this race? In Hebrews chapter 12, I'll be starting in verse 1. Hebrews 12, verse 1. Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So think of athletes today. When somebody is about to run a marathon, what do? They have a strict diet, they have a workout schedule, and they have equipment which they could use to work out. And one of these equipments is known as ankle weights. And the purpose of ankle weights is you go on your jog, your run, and the ankle weights are supposed to add strain to your muscles so that your muscles can build endurance, and then once you take the ankle weights off, your step is supposed to be lighter, and you're supposed to be able to go further than what you're able to with these ankle weights. But here, as we see, is ankle weights won't do us no good in this race. Because the ankle weights, it says, let us lay aside every weight and sin that so easily ensnares us. So the ankle weights are sin, and we need to take those off so that we may be able to run, it says here, with endurance, run that race that is set before us. So that is one way to escape the devil. We need to throw aside these sins in our life.